We've been tracking national likely voter concern about issues, as watchers of this channel know well, but we've just asked the question in a different way, and it reveals something pretty monumental about voter motivation. A quick recap of indicators for this fall's midterms. Republicans have a 7-point lead in the generic ballot, they have a 6-point lead in voter enthusiasm, and they have a 14-point edge among all voters when asked if it is important that Republicans control Congress. But what is motivating voters? We've been asking voter issue questions all election season in the form, how important will the issue of X be in this year's midterm elections? The point of this question is to judge the relative signal strength of each of these issues among all voters, and also among each individual demographic group. So here's a look at the most important issues ranked top down. And you can see, with the exception of election integrity, which is at number 3, the top 5 are rounded out by kitchen table issues. But take a look at number 6, the Ukraine war, which is pretty high. And take a look at number 12, abortion rights. Those will be important later. Also note on the list how low things like energy policy, national security, and illegal immigration fall. And finally, COVID-19 is dead last on the list, and only 21% of likely voters are very concerned about that issue anymore. The problem with this question is that in times like this, voters are concerned about everything, and the distinction between issues largely becomes noise. What happens when you force survey respondents to pick only one issue? Well, here are the results. Which one of these issues will be most important in how you vote in this year's congressional elections? Inflation gets top billing, followed by the economy, followed by abortion rights. Everything else is sub 10%, with climate change and illegal immigration tied for 4th place at 8%. Violent crime, often in our top 3 issues when asked the other way, gets shoved down to 6th place. But note that the war in Ukraine, high on the other list, is now nearly at the bottom, and abortion rights, which ranked at number 12, jumps up to number 3, eclipsing some other major issues. Here are the Republicans' top issues. Inflation at 33%, economy at 29%, illegal immigration in a distant third at 13%, and violent crime 4th at 8%. Important to note that there are 7% of Republicans who are voting because of abortion rights. But this question doesn't differentiate whether they're voting because they oppose the Dobbs decision or because they might want more of the same. But the takeaway here is that a strong majority of Republicans, 62%, are voting entirely because of economic concerns. Independent voter issues largely mirror Republicans, with inflation again in first place at 27%, the economy second at 22%, but here abortion rights are number 3 at 18%, showing that there are a reasonably sized chunk of independent voters being driven by outrage over Roe versus Wade being overturned. Illegal immigration only takes 4th at 9%. But here's the Democrat list, quite different. 31% say abortion is their number 1 issue, almost eclipsing number 2 and number 3 together, inflation and the economy. Combined, that's right, Democrat voters this cycle are so inflamed by the recent decision allowing more pro-life states to set their own abortion limitations that the impact of rising prices, plunging stock markets, and flagging home values is roughly equivalent in their minds. Climate change comes in at number 4 for Democrats, beating violent crime. Violent crime has been one of the top issues this whole election season, when each issue was asked individually. But it's fascinating to see that the issue drops pretty far down the list for all voters once asked in this format. Also of note is that the war in Ukraine never beats 3% in any voting bloc. And likewise, LGBT rights doesn't hit 3% either, even among Democrats. Only 3% of Democrat voters are being driven by illegal immigration, and that's 3 and 4 times less than independents and Republicans, respectively. Now, we had to limit the choices here to make the list work as a question, but which issue would you have liked to see inserted here? And which one of the responses would you have replaced with it? I personally wish we could have fit election integrity in the list because it's currently the number 3 issue among voter concerns and has even risen as high as number 2 among Republicans and independents. Stay tuned for more midterm coverage, including a video on our Arizona poll results and the last generic ballot poll before the election, all coming this week. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an update, follow us on Twitter, and sign up for free daily poll updates at our site. Thank you.